See if you can see my hand. The extra light on. These are grapes. Okay, they look like something they're not. I don't know. Like, there might be too much light. You can see this hand swollen. I got bit by a wasp going in my mailbox. Right there, it got me. Right there. You could see the difference from one hand. See, I got no fingernail polish removed, but I should have just kept putting polish on top. Anyway, I started a sewing project. Looks like a move over. I started a sewing project, and no, not this one. Started a sewing project, and there you go. That looks better. You can see the difference. The swelling. See, that's all. The whole thing's swollen. So I've been wiggling my fingers. It got me right there. You got me. Oh, it's hurting all day. I almost thought I had to go to the hospital. But see, the hand is like a lot bigger. And that's swelling. You can see it around the knuckles. Well, it looks like they're starting the impeachment over yeah. And I used to be ambidextrous, and I stopped using my left. And now, this is hard. But anyway, it looks like they're going to have enough, they already have enough information. It's just what they want the public to know about what happened with the election. But it seems like, yeah, 100% Trump was in collusion, or he was making deals with the Russians for this presidency job, it looks like. And how dumb is his sons? His son, one of them, Junior, the other one, is going to come and defend his father's very cruel, inhumane type of policies that he's trying to invoke on the American people. It looks like they're taking money out of the school system. I got news for China. Keep this shit up, and we won't be able to buy your goods. We'll just be walking around with the same shit on from in this 2017 up to 2017. We can remake our clothes as long as we don't get bit by a wasp. Oh my god, that hurts so bad. And I'll be all right. Keep trying to use the hands. But if they go along with this impeachment, the thing is I don't think Pence is totally innocent. I think when Pence signed up to be the vice president, and Trump talked to him and his sons talked to him, I think they talked the same way. You hear him in interviews. I think this was, their master plan. The Russians, like as far as I'm concerned, for the last two presidential elections, they've been trying to get somebody in there, either with the Tea Party or something, and now they have somebody in there, and you can see why Russia stays at war. Because when you sort of dog out your citizens really unnecessarily, because you can still make tons of money without being cruel, narcissistic. And, I grew up around people that are narcissistic. And the one thing that I noticed, they do cry a lot. Because they're like narcissistic, psychotic, and schizoid, and even bipolar people. I've noticed, hanging out in the elementary school, PS 111, man. Elementary school, junior high, PS 7. Anyway, that's enough of that. 17, but that's enough of that. Etc. Etc. Hanging out in that, and we had students that got whooped when they, and like I used to think, well, they got amnesia when they become parents and they start doing the same thing to their kids. There's like, and then you had friends that we were sitting around, we were talking to them, and like they got whooped, and they're like, I'm never gonna do this to my kid. Those people actually didn't do that to their kids. It was the one that was like, that was holding it in, and like project that the learned behavior from home, which is like to hit instead of communicating. Um, I noticed that when all of us got introduced, like the police department was like some bunch of perverts and wannabe super fly and drug dealers and stuff like that. When they was able to just step out of that situation, the ones that recognized that they don't have to that they hated the behavior that their parents did, they stopped doing drugs. Or the ones that didn't get whooped are now drug free. They went through that peer pressure. Mostly at that time in New York in the late '70s. Like they had a policewoman. She was in Playboy. They was all into. The police was like really being criminals. Um, they were jealous. They were starting up. Uh, So anyway, um, but you have people that, because I have seen people that have changed, but around here people get whooped. They don't change, and it's very destructive. And the one thing is, like I said, it seems like they had amnesia. Like they forgot about the times they was crying about how unfair or unjust their parent was. Like it was like torture for them, whatever. Hated to go home. They forgot. They had amnesia. Some of them have amnesia, and they go and they do the same thing that their parents had did. Because they learned how to hit before they could walk and talk. They got sexual abuse before they could walk and talk. So that's a lot of trauma. Like we use words like when it comes to raping children as, oh well, there's they don't say the word rape. He's a pedophile, and all these other things. And I think that that's the type of mindset the Republicans have. They had amnesia on when maybe they had been mistreated or tortured in some way with spanking or belittled or I noticed like with the Trump, like they were like, oh, everybody's stupid, everybody's stupid. I noticed con artists that are very cruel and inhumane. They think they get away with their cons, not because they're so smart, but because they're so stupid. And I think that, oh well, we was able to file bankrupt and not pay this contractor because the contractor's stupid, not because I'm a criminal. Oh, those kids that went to the Trump University, Trump and his people are like, well, how stupid are they? It's not like, oh, we're criminals and we're harming and we're causing more damage. And and what I'm alluding to is like our healthcare plan, our budget that they're supposed to be making. It sounds very cruel, and even the way they're doing the education system is very cruel. And it's not productive. It doesn't promote financial growth, and his getting out of the I can't think of the climate when he went to Paris, the climate agreement, him getting out of that. Opposed to him understanding and comprehending uh, uh, what the climate agreement was, he goes off in the left field. There's, you know what I'm saying? That nobody is telling anybody what to do in a non-binding agreement. It's done on faith, trust, and respect. Obviously, he's proven that he doesn't have that. Why he's attacking our allies in NATO, I don't know. Uh, Except for the fact that uh, they have experience, with dealing with cruel and inhumane people by exposing them, um, exposing their corruption, exposing their crimes. And I think that Trump and his people are very smart, very not smart, but very stagnated in their ways. Is what I'm thinking. Stagnated in their ways to the point is, yeah, they probably had a lot of dealings with like New York police. New York police, y'all do your procedures, and when there's an emergency, y'all handle your business. Nevertheless, there's too much sexism and too much racism and too much uh, 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 self hate. In other words, hating Americans. Like, oh, I don't like this black person or that person over there is a crack fiend. We don't have unconditional love for our own people, and that is how I've seen a lot of people that was into drugs get out of drugs. Either they had unconditional love for themselves, or there's somebody else gave them unconditional love, or uh, they was able to forgive, forget, and move on to some of their own grievances that they had caused unto others. But anyway, it's all in perception. And ability to see your wrongs and correct it. And I see with Trump, they're striking out like everybody's picking on everybody's picking on you. They don't want to recognize their wrongs because if you actually if the Republicans or anything actually have to look at some of the mistakes that they're doing, as with Trump uh, being even allowed to run for presidency, if they would look at their mistakes, but they're not thinking about that. They're thinking about undoing uh, what Obama has did, finding him as the scapegoat. He's irrelevant to the government right now because he's no longer the president. And any policies or anything that you want to do, you will be held responsible for the simple fact is that you are the ones doing it. You're the ones planning it. Anyway, eh, so they looking for excuses instead of saying, okay, you know what, this is not working. You know what I'm saying? Like with Trump tweets when he first came in office, and everybody's like, you shouldn't tweet. He's like a lot of these people around here, racist, narcissistic, double biting, hypocrite type of people. Like, oh, they don't like this, so they'll do it over and over again. You know, um, uh, it's just to aggravate you. I remember this one girl, she was like, where was that? She's cook, and I know she was a little racist ass white hoe bitch, and she could cook, and I was like, oh well, I'm Jewish, I can't have any, I can't have, I want to have this, and this type of food to eat, right? Prime rib or some crazy catfish or something. Anyway, and something I knew they weren't gonna have. Next thing you know, they piled a plate up with ham, some greens, and some yams. I remember everybody was looking at me, was eating it, they was looking at me, nobody was saying a word. I mean, I ate that whole thing, it was good. I was like, what you put in there? I was like, I know this white lady didn't put oxtail in those greens. I mean, she put her whole foot in it. She was like, I was like, oh yeah, let's see if you can eat it. And nobody gonna starve to death on this planet. Uh, but uh, just like, but like, I kept doing stuff like that. you know, like, cause I know that, uh, and, and I wasn't really particularly liked by the other girls, but they respected me. They didn't respect me because I hit them, I cursed them out, or anything. They didn't understand what I was doing at first, or this crazy girl, until like they saw the results of it. Which, you know, a lot of times, like if you do something that's positive and that's good, and you're working around negative people, it takes a long time to get um well, it takes a long time for them to realize that you is not a narcissistic person that's, striking out on them, because that's what they expect, you know. Because they keep messing with you. It's like, they keep messing with you, so, And I think that's where Trump is now. They're at a war room. So basically, they're at war with American citizens. And they so engraved in thinking that their ideas and the way they are because of the people they're around. I've been around a lot of Russian mafia. Uh, 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 you can see that his lawyer was just really milking him for money with all these bankrupt things or frivolous bankrupt cases that he brought up. Um, they were a bunch. He has a bunch of leashes that are around him. That that encourage this type of behavior. Uh, but it looks like they're gonna start the impeachment. Let me get off. I'm in so much pain. Probably don't even know what I'm talking about. They start the impeachment. They're gonna start doing what they need to get the impeachment rolling and start starting the paperwork. I think you got to understand the Democrats for the last 8 years wasn't getting any help from the Republicans, so they have gotten very conditioned to work, and the Republicans, especially the ones that just got up there, when Obama got in office, they haven't really learned to work, so they don't have, the working mentality. They have all these highfalutin ideas that they hadn't went over with, financial advisors or anybody else, you know. And you could also tell that the Trump people didn't do their homework when that was from November election to January taking over. They didn't do any of their homework. They didn't get any debriefing. If they had got debriefed, they would know the same way when the white people came over here and thought that they were in India. They also thought South America was Africa. So a lot of the black people, they didn't come from the other continent, Africa. They came from up from South America, and that's all in the. It should be unclassified. Now it's all in a lot of the papers they could have read, so they could really understand, instead of you thinking that place was made for white Christians. No, it was made for black Jews. They didn't want us to know. How many people know about the pyramids in South America, or the City of Lights? We don't know about these because they didn't teach us these things in school. So we already are lacking in education. We're already, especially white supremacists. There was 4 lies to cover up the first lie. You believe in the 4th lie. At least that's what my ancestors. They done did 4 lies to cover up the truth. They didn't have TV or internet. You just maybe had a creative a writer from, anyway. That was trying to sell it to magazines or newspapers. And the government was very involved in the propaganda too. And I'll say maybe because of back then their education system might have been, for those that was going through the school system, better than our education system here. We know that they ate healthier because they didn't have processed. Well, they didn't eat as much processed food. I'm sure they had like salami, bologna, you know, some type of sausage and stuff like that. It's sort of processed, but but they ate healthier. You know, everybody had a little garden, especially in the summertime. You had a little garden, so you know, so you have fresh veggies. You know, maybe you had a couple of nuts. You had some trees with nuts and stuff like that. So you ate healthier. Um, the children were getting breastfed, so their brains developed. You know, and if you had a family that was like more, seemed like back then the more educated, lots of times the less abusive in some cases, not all. It's, sometimes the more education, you know, depending on if you're narcissistic. But you can look at today from the trauma that we have put onto our children, the bipolar situations that we have, the schizoid situation we have, uh, with people that go up into work and shoot up stuff. All this stems from uh, 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 women being put in a position to where pretty much our sexuality is something to be bought, sold, something to be ashamed of, humiliated over, blackmailed, embezzled over, sold, traded, and rented. You know, our sexuality and our women and our children do not really have any rights. I want to ask, you know, one of the things I was going to church, but I missed a few. Um, it rained Sunday, and last time I went into church. I walked in after being soaking wet. I just don't like sitting around in wet clothes. First of all, that's how you get stains. You know, you never know. But I don't like sitting around in wet clothes anymore. That's with the air conditioner on. But I mean, it is hot, but it's just ugh. But you know, like what age do you like? What age can you call the police for child abuse if you're a child? They don't teach that. They teach the kids like they know to call 911 and they know ST days. That's about all they know in elementary school. Um, but what age does it become assault? Like you're whooping your kids, you're whooping your kids. What age does it become like, okay, we could arrest you for assault? Is it once the kid gets past puberty? It's like under puberty, you could torture, terrorize your child with physical abuse. Anyway, let me get off. I've been talking 22 minutes. We're going to be impeaching Trump. We're going to be impeaching Trump. We're going to be impeaching Trump. And we got to get Pence out with him because his thinking is just as disgusting, cruel, and a harm to the security of the United States. And that's the number one reason we got to get Trump out because he is jeopardizing our standing in the world and our safety in the world with his ignorant, racist, greedy, narcissistic, schizoid. And I guess y'all heard about how bad Russia got STDs, got HIVs, and they're not helping their people. We don't want to be a country like that that doesn't have the humanity that it takes to have healthy people. Let me go see what's going on in the kitchen.